held on, and steadfastly were clinging to that faith in Yiddishkeit like a Klozimug Rebbe. Why? What a role model he was. And Dave in the classroom of Eli Wiesel has said, and the author closes the chapter with the following. Dave asks the Professor Wiesel, what should we tell the others, those outside the classroom? Professor Wiesel opens his hands in a pensive gesture. Tell them we could do so much more. And since we can, we must. Klal Yisrael, we're going to get past this. We're going to plug one day at a time. We're going to hold tenaciously onto that Emunah B'tochen. We're going to march forward through COVID-19, through coronavirus, through solitude and quarantines. We're going to get through this, and we know we're going to get through this. And God's going to bring us through the other side of Yam Suf. We're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to get at the safe, dry ground after a Yam Suf. And the Mitzvah will be behind us. And the turbulent seas, the raging waters will be behind us. The question is, who are you? Did you change in the process? Did you take all the good and the chesed? How are you going to perpetuate it? How are you going to transform yourself? How are you going to help others going beyond? Are you going to remain the lowly shivcha that Rechai Shmulevitz told us that with everything she just stayed the same old shivcha? Or are you going to rise and uplift yourself like never before? So you know what we have to do? We have to press the restart button post-corona. So let's go back to the first time in history that we pressed a restart button. After all, I share with you that terminology, the choice wording of Chazal, and the Tosefta Tainis Bezin Aleph, a mabul of dever, not stam, a trickling, not stam, a little bit of society here and there, a sprinkling throughout the world of some invisible virus. No, it'll be a mabul, it'll be an inundation. A great deluge of dever that comes to the world. Klal Yisrael, how can we ignore the lesson? Let's go back, let's press rewind, and go back to the Mabul that utterly eradicated all of society, the sheer annihilation of mankind. And Noach's on the table, and it's time to start anew. And he witnessed through the window, that's it. He saw that the world is gone. It's time to press the restart button. Klal Yisrael, let's go back to Noach. It's time to press that restart button, and Noach comes out of the teva. He comes out of the ark. And what does Noach do first? The Torah Kadosha shares with us, Vayocha Noach ish Adama. Rashi citing the Medrash, Asa Atzma Chulin, he made himself profane. He defiled his innate sanctity. What did Noach do after all that time in the Teva? After all that chesed, the gewaldige chesed? And that the Al Shech HaKadosh says he was a mispala, he didn't do enough for his generation, for his peers, his contemporaries. God says, sequester yourself, go into quarantine. I want you to live with the animals. And I want you to do unbelievable, unrestrained and unfettered chesed, loving kindness towards the animal kingdom. So now we would expect that to transform Noach entirely. And Noach comes out of the teva, and what does he do? Vayita karim, he plants a vineyard. And Rashi says, based on Chazal, Hayalol and Toh and Atiyah, he should have planted something else. So what should he have planted? Right, so Rav Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg in a Sefer Derech Emunah B'tochen. You know what the mistake of Noach was? Noach, there's nothing wrong. You want some grapes, you want to produce wine, there'll be a time and a place for that. But right now, if the world was destroyed and it's time to press the restart button, and you have to rebuild an Olam Hazeh Michodosh, if you're going to press the restart button, right? So Shaimer, that don't care about your own pain. Stop looking at yourself. What do you want the wine for? Tenu Sheikher L'Ovid V'yayin L'Mori Nefesh. Noach needs the wine. He needs to calm himself down. Abyssal alcohol. You know what the problem is? Noach, Hikia, there'll be a time when Magia L'chal, there'll be a time and a place. But right now, what's the first thing you do when you come off of an ark? You start rebuilding the world. You start caring about all society. You look beyond yourself and you say, how can I help? How can I better? How can I enhance all of the world around me? Explains Rav Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg, that was the mistake, that was the beginning of the downfall of the Noach who began the Parsha as the Noach is Tzaddik, and as the Medrash Rabbah continues, We followed him through the saga, the story of the flood, and then he emerges on the other side. And not only is he that figurative Shivcha who didn't change, but he now has a decline. Spiritually, he falls downward, and he descends from the lofty pedestal of a Noach Ish Tzaddik, that choice appellation that God himself, Kavayocho, branded upon this Noach Ish Tzaddik Tamim. And now he's a simple, plain Noach Ish Adama. Why? Because Yeshua says he cared about himself and he didn't care about the world. What about Tikkun Olam? What about fixing the world? What about rebuilding the world one piece at a time? Explains Rav Noach Weinberg, beautiful collection of Divrei Torah of Noach Weinberg and Parshas Chukas, the renowned former Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshiva Eish HaTorah in Yerushalayim HaKodesh, asks a very interesting and a poignant question. Why is it that if we turn our attention momentarily to that episode of Moshe Rabbeinu placed ever delicately into the Nile River, you had his sister Miriam, she's on the sidelines, and you had Basi Baspar who comes in, and what happens? She's Moser Nefesh, she knows her father, the monarch, the nefarious ruler. He issued a decree, and she goes against that very decree, and she risks her own life, and she goes and rescues the child, and she names the Moshe, and she gets a Gavaldig Eschar. He had 7 names, 10 names, different Meroshi Chazal, but the name that sticks with him through all of history is the name that she branded upon his head, and that of Moshe Rabbeinu, Ki Yemin Hamayim Meshisiyu. And yet asks from Noach Weinberg, she was the one who was Moshe Nefesh, and what did Miriam do? Miriam stood on the sidelines. Yes, she put her life in somewhat of a danger, but what does she get because of that? When she has tzaras, the whole nation doesn't move without her. B'schus that she stood by the water, Tainus, Testament, Aleph, we have the Be'erish Miriam. We have this miraculous Mayim. She gave sustenance, the basic staple, the core essential of all society, Mayim. She gave us the Mayim, and her merits primarily. We had the Be'erish Miriam. She was Mafarnis and Machalkel. We had the Be'erish Miriam. Why? Because for Tetotza V'chosim Yirocha. What was the difference between Miriam getting this unbelievable reward and Basia getting a beautiful reward, but you can't put it on the same level as that of a Be'erish Miriam? Explains from Noach Weinberg, because Basia, she was thinking, I want to save this one child, I want to save one human being. I want to do it because I can't stand by and watch this young boy suffer the way he currently is. I can't stand by and lose this child. I'll be laden, I'll be burdened with guilt. I have to do the right thing. She cared about herself ultimately. But explains to Noach Weinberg, the galus, the spitz galus of Miriam was, she risked her life to save the future Moshe and Shal Yisrael. As the Gemara in Sota relates, she turned to Amram, her father, and said, he's going to be the one to take out Klal Yisrael. This is the future Moshiach Shal Yisrael. She wasn't thinking about herself, and she wasn't thinking about her brother. She wasn't thinking about her parents' son. Miriam, explained what Noach Weinberg, was thinking about God's Klal Yisrael. She was thinking about the world. Klal Yisrael coming out of this Corona, Be'ez Hashem B'karov. And hopefully, yes, Mashiach will be here at the latest Chol Moed Pesach, and the very, very latest Benisan, Hanigalu Benisan, Hasidin Ligal, the Gemara Rosh Hashanah, Daf Yud Amud Beis. Hopefully this is the time, finally, once and for all. But until Mashiach comes, you know what Hashem wants to see? That no longer are we living for ourselves, we're living for other people. We're living for all society. We're living to care about the world. We're living not to care about our own personal daladamas, not about what's the story with my family, my home, my car, my career, my job, my parnasa, my health. It's about Yedim, it's about my neighbor, it's about my friends, it's about everyone in my shul and my community. It's about Klal Yisrael. It's about making sure that's an Avodah Hashem, right? So the Yitzhak Isaac Sher. I don't just care about myself. I want to make sure that all of the masters of Avodah, that they're all doing their job, that they all have everything they need to fulfill their own respective tafkid. I care about the world. I care about Hashem's world. I want to be masakin Hashem's world. So Klal Yisrael, we're getting set. We're going to press that reset button mighty soon. We're coming out of a mabul of dever, Mirz Hashem B'karov. Noach's mistake was he cared about himself and he didn't care about the world. Adds Rabbi Yitzchak Voloshin in his wonderful Sefer Al HaTorah Pekadosh. And he says, you know what Noah's primary error, you know what his grave mistake was? That Abala Yerish Shemayim, what do? When God creates in a people, and he mamish inundates the Gansavel, turns the world upside down, and he presses the restart button, Kaviyach, and he starts the world anew. You know the first thing an Erlachiyah does? He runs to the base medrash, he takes out a sefer, he opens up a Gemara. Those Heilige Yidden post the Holocaust. Can I get a Gemara Bavakama? Can I get a Gemara? Can I get a Sefer? Can I learn right to Yitzhak Volozhin, the Volozhin of Rosh Hashiva, who took over after his father? Noah's mistake was, it's time to press the restart button. Then what do you got to do? You know what you got to do? You got to take out a Sefer, you got to learn. And why is that? Well, it makes a lot of sense. Because when Hashem Yisparach initially created the world, that famous oft-quoted Mishnah, Perkei Avos, Perkei Aleph, Mishnah Bey, Shimon HaTzadik, Hay Mishiori, Anshe Knesses Gadol, Hu HaYomer. Al Shlosh Dvarim Ha'olam Omed Al HaTorah V'Al Avodah V'Gemilas Chasodim. Hashem Yisparach created his world resting on a three-legged tripod. Hashem Yisparach created a world that's built on three pillars upholding the entire Metzias of Olam Hazeh. And that is Torah, that's Avodah, and that's Gemilas Chasodim. And Rav Ochon Wasserman writes in Kovetz Mamorim, the Torah is Keneged Yaakov, the Yaakov Masmid, the quintessential Masmid, the Yish Tam Yoshev Olim. And Yitzchak is the Omen Avodah, and Yaakov is the epitome, the paradigm of Gemilas Chasodim. So the order ought to have been reversed. First start with Gemilas Chasodim, corresponding to Avram, then move on to Yitzchak Avodah, and finally then Yaakov and Torah. No, why do we start with Torah? Because yes, there are three legs upholding the world, three figurative pillars, but the key one, the most prominent of them all, is that Amanat Torah, and thus we reverse the order. Right, Rav Ochon Wasserman, because Torah is the key to life. 1 second without Chesed, the world continues to exist. One but split moment, without Avodah, without Tefillah, without Kabbalah, and yet again, the world can be perpetuated. But 1 split second without Torah, Seinu HaKadosh, without Limud Torah, and the world instantly ceases to exist. So Klal Yisrael, it's time to get ready to make those preparations right here and right now. Emet Hashem, the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be seen mighty soon. Emet Hashem, this pandemic will be beyond us, this mabul of Dever. And then what are you going to be? What are you going to look like? So if we're here to start the world anew, then what? We're starting God's world anew. We're starting our own personal world anew. We have to build it on these three amudim of Torah, of Avodah, of Gemilas Chasodim. And thus I'd like to humbly suggest a few things we could keep in mind. Two small inyanim b'nogea Torah, two small inyanim b'nogea pertaining to Avodah, to Tefillah, and two small inyanim pertaining to Chesed. Sifaniya Katan, if I could humbly propound, if I could broach the following, let's espouse the approach of a Sumei Rav Yasei Tov. Let's tackle these three pillars as we get ready and set to press that restart button. And it's time to create our own new world. We cannot be the same people. So let's start with Torah, because like Rabbi Yitzhak Volozhin told us, the first thing Noah ought to have done after coming out of the table was get back to learning. So one small thing. Before you go to sleep at night, how many people, they're reading a magazine, they're watching TV, looking at their phones. The Rosh, Rabbeinu Asher, one of the Gedolei Rishonim, writes in Piskei Yerches of his Orchos Chaim, a person shouldn't go to sleep mitoch sicha b'teila, rather he should go to sleep mitoch liman HaTorah. And the Ponovitch Rav explained this Orchos Chaim le'arosh. So to Yitzchak, and the reason is because the kochos is still acting on you when you go to sleep at night. And if the last thing you do before you go to sleep is you're watching a ridiculous movie on Netflix, you're watching your cable, you're watching TV, you're listening to CBS News Radio for the millionth time, you're looking at your Yeshiva World News, your matzav, Ma'alim HaKodesh, we're going out. You're looking at your cell phone, emails, text messages. That's what's going to be in your brain. That's what's going to be in your mind. That's what's going to be in your world of the neshama as you go to sleep for the night. The last thing you do before you go to sleep should be Limud Torah. So, you know what, Klai? So take away the nourishkeit before you go to sleep at night. I'm not here to tell you give up every single little thing, but at least before you go to sleep, you retire in bed for the night. Don't let the last thing be all those texts and emails and catching up on the news and the social media. Get rid of that. So, and I say, Tov, go to sleep through Kriya Shema Lamita. Go to sleep through Limud HaTorah. Learn two halachas of Shmiras HaLashon. Read a geschmack, a story that uplifts the neshama and elevates the soul. Don't be engaged in nourishkeit to those precious moments before you go to sleep at night. And in the tzad of Asay Tov Klai Yisrael, everyone's got to add something meaningful in their learning. I'm not asking for a half hour. I'm not asking for an hour. Sukkah, Hayam, and Aleph, Tefasta, Merubalo, Tefasta. But 5 minutes, 10 minutes, another Seder, but not Stam, another Seder. Another Seder in a Liman, whether it's Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, a few halachas daily, whether it's 2 or 3 halachas in Sefer Chavetz Chaim, whether it's a Ramban al Torah, whether it's a Mesilas Yesharim, but some new Seder of something that's not currently in your Kviyas, add on a 5-10 minute Seder each and every day that says, Hashem, I'm doing this as a reminder of what happened in Corona and COVID-19 in the year 2020. And Toshin Pei, I don't want to ever forget it. And remember that you took on this extra Seder Limud, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, before Shacharis, after Shacharis, before, after Mincha, before, after Ma'ariv. Sometimes sprinkle throughout the day, take on an extra Seder. Doesn't have to be that long, but it has to be something significant. Something, a chok v'lo yavor, that's meaningful, that says, I'm going to keep to this 5-10 minute extra Seder. I'm going to learn something that will forever engrave in my mind and etch in my memory for all perpetuity, that I'm not going to forget this COVID-19. I'm not going to forget the tragedies and calamities that are plaguing us and striking us day in and day out. It's going to be over soon, God willing. And we're going to walk out of this. Are we going to be the same people? Of course not. So let's get rid of the nourishkeit in the 5, 10, 15 minutes before we go to sleep at night. Let's make sure we go to sleep, we talk Divrei Torah. And let's add on another 5 or 10 minutes Seder throughout the day. Let's make sure our learning is different. But at least let's add on something special, something meaningful. Something that serves as a continuous reminder that we're always going to be adding on to our learning, because the Torah is the key pillar upholding the entire mitzvahs of the Welt of Olam Hazeh. We move on to the world of Avodah. So Meirah comes to Avodah. When it comes to the Avodah Satfilah, I know some people already, I'm getting emails, Rabbi, the community's got to come out, no cell phones ever brought into shul. I love to be able to say, don't ever bring cell phones into shul, but it's a davar shein tzibur yochel lamed ba. I know that we in the White Shul, we had cases, we spent the money, we have charging units. How many people, they can't leave their cell phones in the car, security this, they're relying on emergency. Okay, Klai, so I'm not here to tell you, don't ever bring a cell phone into shul. But I'm here to suggest, yes, you might have that cell phone with you, but when you're in a base Knesset, when you're in the base Medrash, never ever take out that cell phone in the middle of a base Medrash. You might have that cell phone, and it might not have stayed in your car, but then at least let it stay silenced, let it stay off in your talis bag, let it stay in your inside jacket pocket, but don't ever take it out. You're a doctor, you might get an emergency call. Your wife might be expecting, Baruch Hashem. So then what? If that's the case, then maybe you have it on vibrator, and if you feel the vibration, you go outside the shul. Klai, so post-corona, I can't tell you even pre-corona. The pain, the tsar, the agmasefesh that I have when I see a yid take out a phone in the base Knesset. When I see a yid take out a phone in the base Medrash. You're standing in front of the Melech Malchei Malachim, Reb Chaim Brisker, Reb Chaim Alarabah, Perdala Lochalef, more Ma'akev. You know what's more prominent, more important and consequential than even the kavanah and the actual words of the tefillah is the kavanah ritzuya, is the kavanah mitzvah that says, I know in front of whom am I standing. How can you go ahead and ever take out a cell phone in God's world, in God's Dalet Amos? Somebody who works for a well-known Jewish organization told me years ago they had a private meeting with some other Askonim with President George Bush. And they were in a boardroom together with the President of the United States. And around 15, 20 minutes into the meeting, one of these Askanim, his phone rang. And he quickly took it out of his pocket and he pressed off. And he shut it off. Of course, he didn't look at it. He shut it off. And President Bush turned to him and said, "Excuse me, but please leave the room. You're coming into the office of the President of the United States and you don't shut off the cell phone. You have to take out a cell phone. You're in front of the President. How can you have the chutzpah, the audacity? I can't tell you the pain that I have when I see a yid taking out a cell phone. But you finished Chazar, said you finished Shmon Esrei, and you're waiting for the rabbi to finish. Then you leave the Beis Knesset. Klai is so one small thing of a Someirah in the world of Avodah, the world of Tefillah. B'makam Avodah Niskana. I'm not telling you, Rabbi Feiner said no more cell phones ever in the White Show. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you're in a shiur, you're in davening, and your cell phone rings, you never ever take it out. It doesn't come out no matter what. Are you waiting another 5-10 minutes? Are you waiting by Gavra the Gavra? Let me just take a look. Let me just see who texted me emails. Forget about it. Be masalik it from your das. Never ever take your cell phone out. Take that upon yourselves right here, right now. Then in a Beis Knesset, a Beis Medrash, you'll never take out the cell phone. You could do it, and each of you know that you could do it. And the Tzan of Asay Tov, you don't need me to tell you never to talk in shul. We all know it. We all know the poskim. We know the Chazals quite fluently. I'm not here to tell you something you know. There's something that's so obvious. And we know it's a dover, something that many people find difficulty. How can I go the whole davening? See, yes, let's start with at least Chazar Shashatz. But some people say 4, 5, 6 minutes Chazar Shashatz. You know what? I don't think I could do it. But you know what everybody here could do? You know what every Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, every Tom, Dick, and Harry can absolutely do? Every Sarah, Rivka, Rochel, and Leah. I could tell you that I've heard this not only from my Choshev Rebbetzin, but from other women as well. They look down sometimes in the main shul and they say, you have young people saying Kaddish, Rachmana Litzlan. At least in Kaddish, why can't people keep quiet in Kaddish? So I'm here to tell you, yes, Klai, so we never should talk in davening. And I'm here to reinforce absolutely in those chalakim, those sections of tefillah, wherein we're actually prohibited from speaking Avodah. Certainly, we shouldn't be talking in davening. But at the very least, if you can pick one thing, Kaddish, not to talk ever in Kaddish. It's not all that long. 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. Kaddish to Skabel, how long is it? People are davening, they're reciting a Kaddish Liloy Nishmas to give a Gavaldik Aliyas Hanashama. And what a chutzpah, what a pachin panim to them, and what a pachin panim to the covet of the Malchus of the Borei Olam. We recite the Heshmei Rabba Mevorach. So in that Tzad of Asay Tov, I ask you, please, no talking in Kaddish. But in that Tzad of the Asay Tov, if I could insert, please, ever so humbly. You know, my favorite part of all davening is Amen Yeheshmei Rabba Mevorach. It's my favorite part. It's the part that's closest to my heart. For whatever reason. And the Gemara shares with us in Shabbos Kuf Yates and Beis Amar Rishon Levi Kol Omer Amen Yeheshmei Rabba B'chol Kocho Machlokes Rishon Rabbeinu Yonah Taisus. You say Amen Yeheshmei Rabba out loud. You say it with all of your strength, all of your spiritual power, with all of your kavanah. And then you can be Mahabich Kor and Log Sardino. You can take a sardine and rip it up like Gabri. You can turn it upside down. That's it. One Amen Yeheshmei Rabba. Rav Elul Opiyan in the Shvi Vayar in the back of Levi Yo. Listen to this, my dear friends. Baruch Hu Rishmo, it's a Gavaldik Azach, we all love it. 1,000 Baruch Hu Rishmos, the schar of reciting 1,000 Baruch Hu Rishmos does not equal the schar of answering one Amen. And 1,000 Amens don't equal one single Amen Yeheshmei Rabba Mevorach. Rav Elul Opiyan, the Levi Leo, one of the greatest, most renowned Bali Musa of our generation. He had a Kabbalah, he had a Messiah. Friends, did you hear that one? I love you so much you can't even imagine. Baruch Hu Shmo Gevaldik. A lot of good brownie points for that. 1,000 Baruch Shus don't equal one Amen. Amen. If you know Amen, the Gevaldik Sfarim that are out there. Amen. Kel Melch Nemon that we're adding now in our Kriya Shema. Amen's Gevaldik, Shema Gevaldik. So many Zechuyas, so many Gevaldik Zachin. You're tofing in the Olam HaSayonim. You can't even be masik. You can't even imagine. And you know what? Take 1,000 Amens. And 1,000 Amens doesn't add up to the schar and to the effect of one single Amen Yeheshmei Rabba Mevorach. And Hashem took that away from us now. No minyanim indoors and outdoors. Those who have outdoor minyanim now, I've no hasaga. The Gedolei Aposkim have all united. You can't. We lost it. We lost Amin Yeshmi Rabbah. Post-Corona, let's press the restart button. Let's make sure to say Amin Yeshmi Rabbah with all of our kavanah. You can't focus all of davening. Okay, I understand. You can't focus every word of Shemona Esrei B'Seder. I'll grant you that. It's hard. It's difficult. But for 30 seconds, 60 seconds of a Kaddish, and you know what? Forget about all 30, 60 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds. Amin Yeshmi Rabbah. You can rip up a Gzar Din and Shivim Shana. That's Kavod Malchusa. Let's give the cover back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In the world of Chesed and Tzedakah. Let's start with the Asay Tov. Meiser is a Gevaldig Gezach. Machlokas Aposkim is in a minute Ba'almo. The Rabbanu Deraisa today. Meiser giving 1/10%. It's Moradik Gevaldig Gezach. But we know that Vilna going writes in the Shultus in the back of Siddur Hagra, the Chavetz Chaim and Perkut Tesef is unbelievable Sefer Avos Chesed. Anyone who can should give a fifth, should give 20%. Yes, the Suging Shuvas, Yivazes Yosi Mechomesh. In the post game, if a person has a lot of money and it's put away and savings, there are plenty of instances you could give absolutely a lot more than 20%. But Klal Yisrael, and I see this is what's happening, it's amazing. Klal Yisrael, look at what we're doing now. People who never shelled out the money that they're currently shelling out, they're allocating. On a typical Pesach, maybe I give out before Pesach $20,000, $25,000. I'm already over $50,000. And there's more coming in. Organizations collecting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars being allocated. Because when it comes down to it, we know how to open up our pockets. Let's press the restart button. Let's not just work on helping everybody who's out of a job, Rahman al-Islan. Let's help out everybody. Let's bring everybody up each and every day. Let's give and share our wealth, as the Chavos Halvavos talks about at length. We're merely the shliach to take God's money and to be the intermediary to allocate it to the right destinations. Hashem gave you money, share the wealth. Share it with people and be willing to give up a little bit. I have to tell you just today, here we are today, a Thursday night. Just today, with Siyata D'Shmaya, I was working on collecting money for a certain tzarech miyuchad. And I called a number of individuals, and I could tell you, Klal Yisrael is Gevaldik Sheba Gevaldik. We got the best of the best. I would call up people, I can't tell you, Baruch Hashem, ready, excited, and willing to help out another Yid. Ready and excited and willing to go ahead and open up their wallets when you ask them for exorbitant sums of money. Klal Yisrael, press the restart button and decide you're not just going to give it 10%. You're going to try your best to give as much as close to 20%. But the savings, what's going to be with the Roth IRA and the retirement accounts? Well, look how God, in 1 week, in 1 month, look how he could go ahead and wipe out 20, 30, 40% of a person's life savings. It's all biyoda. Don't wait to save. Let's hoard the money for this retirement post 65 years old. Right here and right now, let's not wait for Hurricane Sandy. Let's not wait for the next COVID-19 coronavirus. Chalila v'chas, God forbid. Let's share our money. Let's share our wealth. I'll say tov. Let's follow the Chavetz Chaim, the Vilna Gaon. Let's try our best to get as close to 20%. And if we have the Yechaylas and we work with our Rabbanim and Poskim, plenty of instances you could give, yes, a lot more than 20%. And what about the Su'ah Meirah? How many people come back from Pesach vacations, from Florida vacations, from European vacations, and they got to share it with the whole world? It's got to be Instagram, it's got to be Snapchat, I don't know what all these things are, and Facebook. We have to share our vacations. We have to share pictures of our new house, of our new car with everybody else, of our new dresses, our new clothing. Look at the sights that we saw. My dear Klal Yisrael, you know, sometimes the greatest chesed, even if you can't give your neighbor something, even if you can't help out every member of Klal Yisrael, even if you can't give the 20%, but don't flaunt your wealth. You don't have to have the biggest house in the block. You don't have to have the fanciest car in the block. A Yid told me today, Gevaldik, he got rid of his fancy car and he bought a plain car. Gevaldik. Somebody who has the Yechaylas, my Harotza, the beauty to hear from a Yid, he can afford a fancy luxury vehicle and he bought a regular Honda. I'm a big Honda fan. CRV, it does the trick, it does the job. Honda, a car that sells itself, a Toyota, plenty of good cars out there. I'm not saying people shouldn't buy nice things. I'm not saying people shouldn't go on vacations. But don't evoke that jealousy, that kinna. The Gemara tells us 99% of people in the graveyard, 99% of the tzaros come because of ayin hara. Because we arouse that Dayan Hara, we do things that get people to be jealous. So on that side of the Asay Tov in the world that's stuck of a chesed, go ahead and help out Yenim, help out your neighbors. Don't just help them in a time of crisis. See what your neighbors need. Maybe just get flowers for Stam and old friend. Just get flowers, get a cake for Stamazoi, somebody in your life just to be Makir Tov. Even when the times are good, never stop the tzedakah, never stop the chesed. But on that side of the Sumei Ra, sometimes we